So getting into the issue of, this sheriff laws of Greenville, South Carolina, you know, like I said before, I was presented this, and it wasn't actually my it wasn't my idea. I was asked to do this, and so since I had it put up, I decided to go ahead and actually continue with it. It's a lot of craziness behind it, and it's a lot of presentations behind it, and it's some problems on both sides. And even though I tried to explain that I was not biased about everything, the individual that brought it to my attention, I explained that what you're presenting to me, I don't fully see it as you said. I think you're going about it. If you want to present something a certain way, I think you should go about it a certain way instead of coming up with this over exaggerated standpoint of how building your case. I'm gonna be honest with you. A little while ago, I started this like a while ago, and I thought I was actually on point. And if you are watching this, can you give a comment or like, something, help a brother out? Not asking for no money. I'm just asking for a comment or like, help build me up a little bit. Also with my podcast, I'm on my podcast today, and I'm also I'm being supported by this video is being supported by StreamYard. So if you if you're looking for a way to do some live videos, it also helps you. It gives you an easy way of presenting your live display and also connecting with your guests, because when you it gives you a link when you get this app or you get this link, and when you're ready to start your podcast or when you have it scheduled, anything, because you can schedule your podcast as well, but you can also send your guests the link through an email. So no matter where they at, they can be on a laptop, a cell phone, or desktop. If they press that link, it's so easy for them to join it. So this is a good way that you can have a great podcast and present your podcast in a great way. I actually got this idea, this app from Captain Hunter, a great guy, retired police officer that I did a podcast with one time. But it's a great app so far. I'm about to start putting some cash into it so I can be able to have some more of the links and everything and be able to do more things with the app myself. But anyway, getting back into the issue with Greenville, South Carolina, sheriff who was nominated March 2020, Herbert Lewis. He had a ad that a lot of people of Greenville's that disagreed with. A lot of people took it as a threat. They took it as the guy was basically coming at them, and I just don't know. It was about he's a representative of the Republicans, and the Democrat sheriff runner up Paul Guy, who was running against him, who not to the Greenville community liking, has he didn't become sheriff. And as recently issue came up with Sheriff Herbert Lewis. The issue was that it was an ad put out, and the ad was put out about him talking about issues inside the county, in Greensville County, about him having an ad, and I'm about to play it for you guys. If you give me a second to get it set up, just give me 1 second. And the title of the ad is Greenville County Sheriff Herbert Lewis / James Hurst and TV ad in support of Lindsey Graham. Now remember that name, Lindsey Graham. Lindsey Graham is a that is the okay, let me get this right. Lindsey Graham. Now that's when I tell you that this wasn't all about me. This was presented to me, and I just don't like how it was presented to me. And since it was presented to me, and I already posted on my page what I said I was going to do my best to try to present it. Well, anyway, Lindsey Graham is the senator of Greensville, South Carolina. Well, South Carolina, period. And if I'm not presenting that right, like I said, it wasn't given to me, so I'm gonna throw it out. I tried to do as much research as I could. I thought I had that thing together, but as you know, I do a lot of things, so I'm just giving it the best I can. So I'm gonna go ahead and rewind this back for you guys, turn the mic up, and let it do what it do. Here we go.
If Jamie Harrison is elected to the Senate, get ready, because it's coming. Okay. Harrison stands with the radicals who want to defund the police. That could be another vote for Chuck Schumer and the liberals. Jamie Harrison has zero experience and dangerous ideas. Come on, that's not what South Carolina needs. We need real experience and support for law enforcement. We need Senator Lindsey Graham to keep our community safe.
Security is Strength PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Now, what I'm gonna do now, look, when this was first presented to me, right? Yeah, I mean, the idea was that this was a threat towards the community, saying that if Lindsey Graham was not nominated into the seat again, that it will be you know, chaos, riotings, and all that other things that was going there. And I mean, when I heard, I was sent the links and I listened to everything and I read the ads. And from what I read and from what I understood, I didn't hear nothing about, you know, no threat or nothing like that. I mean, I just want you guys' opinion. You guys tell me what you think. Just let me know what you guys think, because I don't see it. So I'm gonna play it again. I'm gonna play it again. Let me see. Give me a second, because I'm doing a lot on my computer right now. And seem like I just didn't see anything wrong with it. I didn't see why, you know, I mean, this person felt as though that this sheriff was actually threatening them, or actually you know what I mean, making them people feel like they was going to have harm brought to them, or their community was going to be destroyed because they didn't vote back in the candidate that they didn't like. So I'm gonna go ahead and try to play this again. Let me see what's going on. Give me a second. Here we go. It just didn't seem it seemed like I was being misled or misguided. You know, if I felt like, you know what I mean, that, you know, I was being used and this person was being used as well. You know, that's just how I felt. I didn't feel like, you know what I mean, I was given a fair chance. I didn't feel like I was given a fair chance. And I think the only reason why they go so hard on him, because, you know what I mean, after all, within all this little case about him, you know, having this issue, having this car thing with this guy, you know what I mean, with Dunlap. And I'm gonna get into that too. But I want to go over this first, because this without actual thing was about. This what we was actually supposed to be talking about.
The rioting, the looting, the chaos. If Jamie Harrison is elected to the Senate, get ready, because it's coming. Harrison stands with the radicals who want to defund the police. That could be another vote for Chuck Schumer and the liberals. Jamie Harrison has zero experience and dangerous ideas. Come on, that's not what South Carolina needs. We need real experience and support for law enforcement. We need Senator Lindsey Graham to keep our community safe.
Security is Strength PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Now, as you hear, this is so similar to any other ad that you heard from any other electee or nominee that's you know what I mean, going for the chairs. He basically saying, you know what I mean, if you don't, he's not saying if you don't elect Senator Lindsey Graham and I are going to send people out there to destroy your community. Rise. They just saying that, you know, we are actually the ones fighting to keep our county good. It's the reason why a lot of our cities are not like most Democrat cities. Sorry to say that I said I wouldn't be biased, but these are things that actually happening. We have to tell the truth that all these other things is not happening in Republican states. You know what I mean? but anywhere else it's just becoming destruction. And they don't want to give control of the Democrats because there is some belief that the Democrats are supporters of Antifa and the Communist Party. Whether do we not know that's true, you know what I mean, our importance in United States, you know what I mean, is not that holds really no merit. So certain information by self-infliction, we're gonna call it self-infliction because a lot of these scars that us American people has brought on ourselves. But I'm gonna try to move right along to the rest of the information that I was presented with. So let's move on to the next one. And it's still dealing with the same guy. This is still dealing with Sheriff Herbert Lewis of Greenville. All right, move right along. All right, this next issue right here is another issue. This was the second issue was brought up to me the next following day because after I listened to everything the person was presenting to me. So after the next following day, I was presented with some more information, even though this was in the email and I read over it. This was the second argument, which got us to the point that we are right now. It said Greenville, South Carolina deputy questions sheriff involvement in traffic stop. Who was driving Herbert Law's vehicle, and why is he accused of intervening improperly in the ensuing investigation? Now, I think this would have been a better base than try to present a person who has a mind of their own, who thinks for themselves, and who is known, you know what I mean, to be a debater or what you want to say, combative or argumentative. You know, that's what I was told. I'm very argumentative. And I understand, I mean, I found myself, because sometimes I sit back and I'll be like, yo, you should have just not paid that no mind. But I just, when something don't rub right with me, I feel to go right back at it and get right back on it. And not saying I'm going to the point where it's those hands and stuff. No, it's people way worse than me. But I got a way of nagging people because I will be very argumentative and I'm determined to get my point across. But it says Greenville County, South Carolina Sheriff Herbert Lewis is facing criticism within his agency after allegedly intervening improperly in a traffic stop last weekend. Last Saturday, August the 22nd, 2020, Wayne Edward Dunlap, that's the guy that well, I'm gonna go and read this is the guy that they're trying to connect with the sheriff through a call, of Greer, South Carolina, was pulled over by Greenville Sheriff Deputy Colin Price. Detail of the stop have yet to be released, but the law enforcement officer reportedly placed Dunlap under arrest upon discovering he was driving with suspended license. According to the public index of the South Carolina 13th District Circuit, Dunlap has since been charged as a habitual traffic offender, a felon which carries with it a possible prison sentence up to 5 years. He was released on a $5,000 personal recognition bond in connection with this charge, a controversial decision indeed given his checkered past. Dunlap actually faced the same habitual traffic offender charge in the neighboring South Carolina 7th Judicial Circuit last year, according to public records. A bench warrant was issued in his arrest in the case after he failed to appear in court on the charge, which is ultimately resolved last January. Dunlap has a lengthy rap sheet. Within the last 5 years, he has been arrested and charged with grand larceny, receiving stolen goods, breaking into a motor vehicle, driving under influence, driving with an open container, and possession of methamphetamine. Some of the charges have been dismissed. Other charges were dropped in exchange for guilty pleas on other charges, excuse me. And obviously, the most recent charges pending. Why do we care about Dunlap? We don't really. The bond he received is certainly suspicious given his background, but such judicial leniency has sadly become par the course of the Palmetto State. I hope I got that right. Palmetto State of the Palmetto State. We do care, however, that when Deputy Price called in the tag on the vehicle Dunlap was driving, the registration reportedly came back to Sheriff Lewis. Now, as you can see, they trying to figure out why, you know, if this guy is known, if this guy is labeled, I mean, it's in record that he's a habitual traffic offender while he had the car. Now, when it was presented to me, when I read the article, I totally understood that. Like, you know, if this was in a minority community or community with colored people, Black, Latin, Puerto Rican, you know, this right here be very suspicious. The police officer would, even if it was a Black police officer or a white police officer in that community, this right there would automatically spark an investigation, not only on the officer, but on that district and every you know, level or echelon of them commands. But on this issue, it wasn't, because this is something that, you know, I guess, you know, South Carolina is known to be a, you know, once a kind of like so much rural state that, you know, a lot of people knew everybody. So if you lived in a certain, you know, part of South Carolina, you know, houses usually about, you know, a half a mile to a mile apart, you know, it's not, at one time it wasn't that many, you know what I mean, big malls or marketplaces, you know, people went to the same store. So even if you didn't know that person yet, you knew of that person, because if they went to a neighboring store or neighboring marketplace, you know, someone in that store may talk about this person, be the exciting thing. So, you know, that's how stories got around. So it became down to the point where, as though, you know, some things that a lot of humans don't have is, you know what I mean, sympathy for our neighbors, or sympathy for others. And I'm gonna honestly say, when I say having sympathy for others, even though knowing that they criminals and doing bad things, you gotta have your limits. You know, this guy was he was a habitual traffic offender. So I think his limit of friendship should have been like, I think, yeah, I would agree that he should, the sheriff shouldn't let him drive the car, even if he did. I don't know if it was like, well, you know, once a person sell a car or whatever, say for tags before we took it off, or maybe the sheriff was in a this just concepts I can come up with, or maybe the sheriff was selling the car to somebody that Dunlap knew, and Dunlap just happened to get his hand on the car, and that's just how it happened. Or maybe the sheriff actually got some type of real connection to Dunlap, like knowing father or uncle or sister or brother married to somebody in the family, or actually grew up with this person and let him drive the car, and just went out on a limp and just said, you know, I'm gonna go and let you go to drive the car because you need it, but don't mess up, because if you do, you know, maybe that happened. But I'm gonna get back into it. Why was Dunlap driving around the vehicle reportedly registered to Lewis? That's a very good question, but we won't find out much in the way of answering, because according to our sources, the sheriff personally called the arresting deputy during the traffic stop and told him not to impound the vehicle. Lewis told him not to tow the truck, that he would handle it. One deputy who heard the call told us. Multiple sources familiar with the call confirmed deputy description of the radio call. Now, this is my prime right here. You know, it's not actually coming from, you know, the arresting officer. This is being told by people who supposedly heard the call, or people connected or familiar with the call. It's not actually, you know, coming from either horse's mouth, confirmed by the sheriff, or even confirmed by the arresting deputy. This is coming from basically sources, and but it hasn't been refuted yet, either by the arresting deputy or neither the arresting sheriff. So we can't say if it's true or false, but I'm gonna go on. If these accounts are accurate, Lawrence will be guilty of violating all matters of established protocol, potentially opening himself to a familiar pyramid, a formal pyramid, and perhaps worse. For starters, in case involving a habitual offender charge, the vehicle in question is forfeitable under the law if it is determined the owner enabled the behavior. So if Lewis allowed this habitual traffic offender to drive his car, knowing that this guy have a habit of being a drunk driver, that's a problem. It's like you're saying, basically what you're saying like, not only we gonna let you go ahead and get drunk out your mind, I'm gonna let you drive my car so you can go around and possibly crash or kill somebody, and I think thinking in that way is, you can't tell a person if they really taking things too far, if they not, because as for instance, this sheriff not taking it serious enough. If he did let Dunlap drive the car, not taking it serious enough, probably would been the cause of someone being killed. But then, taking it that far can also be the reason of causing fear within a small community, or certain people would stop people from continuing life or being able to, go on with life or inspire their self to continue with life. It could be took in certain type of way. It depends on the people that you relaying the message to. And if this is and this right here with what I'm reading, this content's what I'm reading. If this is true and Sheriff Herbert Lewis allowed this guy, knowing that he's a habitual traffic offender, knowing that his involvements in grand larceny, robbery, having stolen goods and things like that, that lets he into a little criminal activity. So, trying to be a sheriff or trying to hold some type of higher echelon respect from your community, and trying to, and when it do come time for you to retire and you want to go out with a bang, this is probably not the type of person you want to hang out with. So, we're going to give as for the first ad, the video ad that you overheard, I'm gonna give that thumb down, and I will give reason why I'm gonna get at a thumb down, because it was told to me that the ad was basically saying that if Greenville, South Carolina community residents does not vote for Senator Lindsey Graham, that Lindsey Graham and team and establishment or followers or whoever of that state will retaliate with ridings and destruction and things like that. And that's not what I got from that. So I'm gonna get at a thumb down on this situation with the car case with Mr. Dunlap and Sheriff Herbert Lewis. I'm kind of in between, because it do seem very suspicious, and it seems like that there is some type of connection and some familiarity between the two. And that Southern life, and y'all know that rural life, how people are down there, especially, and most definitely, especially in the Caucasian community, the white community, that's how they do things. I'm not saying that is acceptable, but that's how things are done. So if we really want to jump out there, and we really don't gotta jump out there. It's obvious, even on the aspect on the deputies that's telling the story, and even on the aspect of how maybe the cover up, or maybe the not unveiling of the connection between Sheriff Lewis and Dunlap. With them, maybe, on both sides, it shows that there's some suspicion in this case. So, we already know what it is. So, I find this kind of, I say thumbs up. I say something wrong here, so I will say thumbs up on that. Move on to the next thing. And I hope this is the video. I'm hoping it's the video of elect Paul guy. I'm waiting for it to load up. People, just give me a second. Give me a second. You know how this stuff is. But for them to the ad, and you know what I mean, what was published in the article that was published, I'm not really, I got a thumbs down and thumbs up on that, because you know, I don't feel like, you know, I just don't trust it, man. And as I'm sitting up here looking at one of these other things that that was sent to me, I'm looking at it like, you know, I'm really not feeling the way Paul Guy I'm not even gonna say Paul Guy, the person that brought this to my attention. I really don't feel it.
Who want to defund the police? That could be another vote.
I really don't feel it. I really don't like you know, how everything turned out, because even though we had a disagreement about how this thing went on and how it turned about, it was like it didn't have to turn out into the name calling, and you know what I mean, telling somebody they unwoke, and you know what I mean, and all this. And then when I sat down and did my investigation, you feel me, come to find out, you feel what I'm saying, it seemed like you just try and get your foot in the door for something. You mean tell me you willing to do all this to get your foot in the door? That's just how I felt about it, you know. And I felt I just don't know this, because you know, as much you know, in my house, if you was to hear me when I'm in my house, when I'm not on my podcast, you would think that, you know what I mean, you'd be like, this guy, wow, you feel what I'm saying? Which I am. You mean, you be like, well, this guy. And when I get on this podcast, when I be trying to present things, I be wanting to do it so good to the point that I get nervous and I can't present things, you know what I mean, the way I want to. You know, I feel as though, you know what I mean, people don't want to hear what I got to say. So, and I know that's not the case, because I've been seeing, as I've been presenting things, a lot of people been responding quite well, you know what I mean, and you know what I mean, being very understandable about what I'm trying to do and what I'm trying to present. And I had it was another video with it was another video that I had with Paul Guy, not Paul Guy, yeah, with Paul Guy and a few of his supporters that was that decided to get up on the stage and, you know what I mean, talk about how they felt about the ad. And like I said earlier, basically what they said was that they felt threatened. They felt like, you know what I mean, if they didn't vote for you know what I mean, Senator Lindsey Graham again, that, you know what I mean, they was gonna send problems out to their city and their, you know what I mean, their communities and the neighboring people, and it wasn't going to be good. You heard the information. I let you listen to it. I read some of the articles. You can find some of the articles yourself. What I'll do is I'll leave the what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead right now. Hold on. I'm gonna go ahead right now, and I'm gonna go ahead. No, stop. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna put the links in. See if you guys can get some of it. I'm gonna go ahead and leave some links in, so you guys can check them out. Because this is not a game, man. I'm not being hasty or being disrespectful or trying to, you know what I mean, cause no problem. Yeah, you shouldn't allow nobody to present nothing to you without proof. And then the whole crazy thing, the whole time I'm trying to figure out what's going on and I'm doing research, you constantly telling me don't do no research because they all lies. They all, yeah, I mean, you know how the news is and everything like that. You feel what I'm saying? There's no other way to do this. You feel me? Most of the information, at least about 75% information you're gonna get from people. Well, people that just You know what I mean? I'm gonna say people that's trying to be politically correct get 75% of their information. You feel what I'm saying, from word of mouth. People that actually want to tell people the truth get, you know what I mean, 95% of their knowledge from reading and doing research. And that's a fact. And I think that, you know what I mean, being presented this article on a day, you know what I mean, this is one of the day I was constantly kept being accused of being mad because, you know what I mean, it was a question asked to me 2 days before I was supposed to have this podcast. And the question was, who is the sheriff of the state that I live in? I live in Texas, Houston, Texas right now. I've been down here for about 3 years, which a lot of people already know, don't want to drag it out. But I've been down here about 3 years. And don't get me wrong, it's not like I was never wanted to be familiar with Houston, Texas sheriff. I have ran across the name. I've seen his face. If I see his face, or if you give me the first name or give me the last name, I'll be able to say his name. And even down to the deputy and the person that was running for sheriff with that individual. Because right now, if I'm not mistaken, if it's, as you can see, I have not been paying attention to it because there haven't been it's been like a real quiet election because, you know, it ain't been, they haven't had this problem where one is belittling the other one to get in position. And if it happened, I haven't heard of it. I could ask my wife or whatever, but we haven't heard anything of these two sheriffs. I mean, we see the billboards around, but we haven't heard none of these sheriffs going at each other neck or, for example, as one, because as you know, Republican Sheriff Herbert Lewis already won, you feel what I'm saying, March 2020. Now these two ads start coming out in August 2020. All presented, it was not presented, you know what I mean? And we would say all the time, this how it happened. It was not presented by law enforcement. It was presented by a losing peer, you feel what I'm saying? So after all this, after Lewis won and he became sheriff, Mr. Guy, ex sheriff, if he was the ex sheriff, Mr. Guy, you know what I mean? I guess I want to say they felt salty. And the reason why I feel salty, because even if he was not feeling salty and was only taking on being thrown out there with one of his supporters gave to him as evidence of trying to get his position back or trying to stay in top respect of the community of Greensville, you know what I mean? The person that presented this ad as into saying that this guy was being he was threatening Greenville, North Carolina, with this ad saying that if you don't vote Senator Lindsey Graham the remaining seat, it's going to be terror. It's going to be horrible. I think that's misguided. That's misguided. If you listen to, I played it 2 times. If you listen to it, you will hear that that's not nowhere near what this guy was saying. His ad was the same as any other candidate or nominee of any echelon position of state government would throw out there in the beginning of their ads when they first start running, or the end of their run or their term. This is what they do, and this all been done before, where people try to use statements and over exaggerate it. And then the crazy, they try to use it for a person to sit down and use this. He knew it seemed like he knew just the right person to do it for him. You gotta be, and I'm not saying, let's get it right. Well, you gotta say that's what you're saying. This to be picked to do this, to use this as your platform, as to come into being a politician or being a community activist, to come in the game as your way of getting in is foolish. It's foolish. I think it's real. I think honestly, you're being misused. You know what I mean? You can't trust them. You know what I mean? It just don't sound right. You'd have been better off using this right here, using this using the ad with you know, about the case, the car case with Mr. Dunlap. That's the case you should have used. But this ad about trying to use this, and then y'all said he was using it illegally. You know, I read an ad where it said that Mr. Hold on, let me see if I can find it. I read an ad where Mr. Senator Lindsey Graham paid for it. But I also seen the ad where I also seen another ad where I think it just the constituents or something like that paid for it, or the departments of safety and something. I'm about to look it up now. But I also heard that it was paid, regardless of what it is. You know what I mean? The government approved of it. The government, you know what I mean, put the lieutenant, I mean, what you would say, the chiefs of the police department in seats, you feel what I'm saying? So it gotta be some connection there where Sheriff Herbert Lewis, Mr. Sheriff Herbert Lewis was able to use them equipment. And like he was saying was that, you know what I mean, they were standing outside. He's the sheriff. He was standing outside and there was a police car already there, so he decided to go ahead and he used it. So I don't know how you're supposed to going about that with accusing him of misuse of state or government property or anything like that. That's questionable too. You know what I mean? And to make everything correct, that was first presented to me, that ad, as being misuse of state and government property without, you know what I mean, authorization. And also, excuse me, the situation about feeling threatened by, you know, his statement of if you don't vote for Senator Lindsey Graham. That's what they got out of there. And I didn't seriously debate it. I didn't argue it. As you can see, I was not trying to be biased to anything. But you know what I mean, you go ahead and take this and you listen to it and you weigh, you know what I mean, the situation. Then you go ahead and you do your own research on this situation, you know what I mean, and find out as much as you can. You know, go WikiLinks, go, you know what I mean, some of the most direct, bold, and ensuring articles I find is in WikiLink. Even though WikiLink is getting a little bit controlled too, because, you know, so many people being familiar with it, you know, so now, you know, the same people that's doing the crooked things are also looking at WikiLink to doing things to get certain things taken off. But it's 1,000,001 ways that you can find out information, whereas though you can find out the truth or not. Or, you know what I mean, even also looking at newspaper articles, they be hiding things in there. But look it up yourself and find out. And it's a lot of problems that I find with Republican Sheriff Herbert Lewis. You know, one of this situation about this ex-habitual traffic offender. After hearing this situation and seeing that there's a twisted relationship with him, I wouldn't want him back in the CD, because that would let me know that he's a little bit too attached to individuals, knowing that he's an officer. Now, all supposed to be attached to the community, and as well, more so his job, not supposed to abuse it, you know, but also be able to relate to the community, but not relate to the community so much as to the point where as though you allowing people to do certain criminal activity and you're not doing nothing about it. That can cause a lot of problems. That can cause death. That can cause jealousy. I mean, which leads to death. You know, this is death all around us. So if you're going to be a police officer, you got to play fair with the law. You're being entrusted by people of that community, loved ones, social friends, close friends, your children, your significant others, and people of that community that pay for your paycheck to be able to make decisions that's correct and fair. And I'm seeing that Republican Sheriff Herbert Lewis and Senator Lindsey Graham has failed so far to look into this issue and correct this issue swiftly, I don't think I would want to vote for them, because the point is, it's not about being Democrat or Republican. It's not about being black or white. It's about being fair with the law, following through with the law, and being able to, deal with this without any restraints of sympathy or familiar or being familiar with anybody. Just being a real stand-up person. And when you got a job like this, this type of behavior should not be tolerated. For Lindsey, these names are already publicly out there. But for Mr. Paul Guy, to use these supporters and have them using these over exaggerated, positions is I think it's real tyrant of you. I think you're doing too much, and I think you're not a good leader, because this ad does not display or even no way say anything about anyone being he threatening to hurt anybody or any community. It's already happening in them communities. It's already happening. So what is you saying? It's already happening. It's been happening. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I don't know if your idea was that you just wanted to get black empowerment in that community, which I'm really behind. You may think I'm not, but I'm really behind. I think black communities should have a separate place where, we can bring our kids a community where, we can show how, eloquent and how decent and how respectable we can be. But at the same time, I don't think we should do it like this. We shouldn't start off with being as crooked as them. We shouldn't start our new black culture, social life or getting together. We shouldn't start off like that, trying to manipulate each other to come with us talking about there's a bigger picture. You look how many years they've been conducting their life with this is a bigger picture. And they still, it's to the point where they've been fucking each other over since the beginning. So why should we be that way? That's just how I feel about the situation, because I will be fair about it. This Sheriff Herbert Lewis should not be in that seat if he's conducting this type of actions. But at the same time, I should not be criticized or belittled or socialized because I'm not seeing things, and I choose to stand on morals and principles about how I feel about things, and to ask me something about because you want to be see, the situation was I got the joint email about having a podcast. You feel me? I seen when Paul Guy, not Paul Guy, but one of Paul Guy representatives, maybe his representatives, or maybe something different. I don't know. Maybe he I seen the reply when he said, "Okay, I got it." When she sent the email about us having this podcast, I seen that. So I seen when he said, "Okay, got it." Now that doesn't definitely mean that he agreed to do the podcast. Okay, I got it. Just that. Okay, I'm gonna look into it. Which I understood it may not have been a podcast. You feel what I'm saying? Which already, some feeling in my spirit gave me a feeling that it wasn't going to happen, but it was going to be just me and this individual. And when it finally came down to that day, when it was the day before the podcast, because I'm lost on the days. I'm not paying attention to the days a week, so I thought it was supposed to be yesterday, but it's supposed to be today, which I'm doing now, and which wound up being started a little bit late, and which because I don't have enough practice, and I'm always doing so much, and it's hard to zone in and focus on doing my podcast because all the action that be going on around me. Every time I start a podcast or I do something like this, it's always seem like it's going. But once I get situated, hopefully ever if I get situated, and hopefully if I ever get the platform that I need, it can be better. But you know, I just thought, and I just thought in the way it turned out, I just didn't understand why, you know what I mean, it had to go this far, you know what I mean? And it wasn't, I didn't find it to be fair, you know what I mean? It just wasn't fair to me to be criticized and belittled because, you know, the way you gave it to me is like this guy was totally a messed up individual. And he was seriously taking this bold standpoint of saying that if you don't, you know what I mean, wow, this was going to happen. Even to the point of lying and saying that, like, I wish I'd have recorded, and this will really, I think this will really pee me off when I caught the person in line and the person was like, yeah, because first the individual started talking to me about the ad, the audio that you heard, saying that that was a threat. Then the person went on to saying, yeah, because they was putting up signs around the community threatening Black people, saying, yeah, if you don't vote for Senator Lindsey Graham, yeah, it's gonna be rioting. It's gonna be some backlashing and all this bull crap. So I'm like, oh yeah. I'm like, oh yeah, yeah, I could put that on my part if you're doing stuff like that, yeah. So this is exactly what I'm saying. I'm like, I remember this part because this will really pee me off. I'm like, oh yeah, this is what this person is saying. This person, they really going that bold. I'm like, oh yeah. So I asked again, like, so you're really telling me, because I wanted to be sure. I didn't want to give people, you know what I mean, people that's going to pay me some mind. I didn't want to give them the idea that this was really going to happen. So I'm like, oh yeah, this is really going. Blah, 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 blah. So I asked again, like, is this what this person? Yeah, that's what the ad said. I said, ho. You told me that this person have supporters putting out signs in communities threatening. Now, even as they putting out signs threatening the communities or the neighboring residents, or this is what the ad say. Yeah, this is the ad say. I said, well, this is what you just told me that they are actually taking action on being bold enough, having the tenacity to come to y'all communities and put out signs threatening you guys. And that really didn't. And then the other lie about the ad threatening them, everything. All that just rubbed me wrong. You feel what I'm saying? And then keep trying to push me not to read nothing or not to look into nothing or to just listen to what you saying. Don't worry about it. So that leaves me with like, yo, so what am I supposed to do with my podcast? So I was going for it at first. Like, you know, at first I was just like, I just want to have a good podcast. I don't want no problem. I was going for it at first. So what took the debate even longer why I don't have my guests once again is because I was asking, like, so what am I supposed to do? Am I supposed to ask you questions? You know what I mean? Just losing all control of my podcast. Like, just giving this person the standpoint to try to be. It was multiple reasons why I was being submissive about it. Because when a person is close, because I know this person to be a very intellectual person, which I will not deny. Another thing is because, you know, I wanted to give us a chance. I thought it was really, the way everything presented to me, I thought everything was really messed up. And I thought this person really had something that, you know what I mean, that can help, you know what I mean, Black people see the sense. You know what I mean, finally say, forget all this white on white war of power of seeing, because if people really pay attention, Republicans used to be ran by Democrats when it first started. But with all the infiltration, now the white people got control of both of them. So now we're just a war of red and blue, the white blue, who wants to pass laws that manipulation laws that always want to pass laws that benefits them with walking on, you know what I mean, quote unquote, Black people back. And the Republicans, who us Black people think that is just don't give a hell about us or whatever situation, but their laws give you more freedom with building your family and being independent and making your own money. And tell you the truth, that's why a lot of Black people go Democrat, because we so used to people taking care of us. And we not getting assistance, a lot of us can't survive. And the Republicans like, well, look, if you can bust your ass and work hard, shit, you can have anything you want to. And I'm trying to figure out, why do a lot of Black people have a problem with that? Why? We know it's a lot of racist people within Democrats. I swear they're in Democrats too. You think they ain't no racist Democrats and the Republicans? But why do we keep battling this when we need to focus on the whole thing? Is that we're supposed to focus on Black development, Black empowerment, Black education. But it seems like every time when it comes down to this like this, we lose focus and we wind up beefing with each other. You know, should I apologize for my opinion? No. Should I apologize if I was raising my voice? Yeah. But as well, the individual was raising their voice for me and wasn't even trying to let me finish my statement of even explaining why I disagreed. So, you know, you should allow people to, you know what I mean? You want me to be involved in something, I should be able to have my opinion. And you shouldn't have to mislead people for the bigger picture. Because if the bigger picture is righteous and you lead righteous, it should end righteous. So now it's getting to the point, like even I realized, yo, it's going to be very hard to become a righteous person, to be a righteous person, and to continue to remain a righteous person in this world. Because everybody has their footwears, though either they can be blackmailed or they're going to do the blackmail. It's just that simple. It's a tradition and human in the human anatomy. Everything is, you know what I mean, it's controlled by something. Everyone is controlled by somebody. And I just refuse to, you know what I mean, right now, at this point with this situation, better choosing my battles. As you would say, know when to hold them, know when to fold them. I'd rather not use this so insignificant, the definition of that unimportant, frivolous ad as a way of pushing fear into the Black communities or the minority communities, which is Black, white, Chinese, Latin. I'd rather not use this because for this podcast from the beginning, it's supposed to be not about Democrats or Republicans or not about Black or white. It's about breaking the law. You know what I mean? I just don't see what you're saying. Because he the sheriff of Greenville County. You know what I mean? It wouldn't have been no different if, I think it wouldn't have been no different if Fox 45 News or any other news channel ran up on him standing next to a police car and he got to give a statement about any accident that's going around. You feel what I'm saying? It costs money to do that too, maybe even more. And also with, you know what I mean, the Senator Lindsey Graham, who from an article that I read, and you can look up yourself, you can even type in Lindsey, things like, you know what I mean, questions like, was Sheriff Herbert Lewis ad paid by Lindsey Graham? I seen, that's how I found it. I seen something with that. And I didn't just look at the first thing that came, and I looked at Wikis, I looked at Greenville's paper, not from just that county, but neighboring counties and everything. So, you know, as I went further, as a newspaper, counties went further out, the article got smaller. So, you know, you got to be careful how many you look into. But I just went to different areas to try to find out what was true. And then I also found an article that it was paid by Greenville Department of Justice, you know what I mean, or something like that. So we really don't know what to go about that. But one thing for sure, and two things for certain, he was involved. He does have a car that's titled to him that was driven by a habitual traffic offender. And if that is the case, something should be done about it. I think we all agree about that. But I also think there's that we should be in question about trusting, you know what I mean, Paul Guy way of conducting business. You know, and the only reason why I say question it for now, because if he corrects this, you know what I mean, he deserves a second chance, because it takes a, you know what I mean, so it's so hard to get people to accept you know what I mean, forgiveness, you know. So I'm gonna leave it as that. So, you know what I mean, if you want to, and if you can, possibly leave some comments, tell me what you think about this. You know what I mean? I hope you guys appreciate this podcast. Hope, you know what I mean, every time I get on this podcast, I say hopefully I get some more practice where I can start presenting myself better and doing a better job. But the thing is, to do great things like this, and as you see, all great podcasters always say, you need a certain type of solitude, you need certain type of energy, and I have to some way find that energy. But one thing I try to do is I'm gonna try to be consistent with what I'm doing. You know what I mean? Let me know if you like this. Let me know if you don't. That's even good. You can please share it, because even though that it may not be important to you, it may help somebody in your family that's in North Carolina, South Carolina, or any other state in our great nation that's dealing with this problem. I'm gonna have another podcast. I might do it a little bit earlier than Saturday, but it might be for sure it's gonna be next Saturday on my final opinion on the 2020 presidential final debate. I did some more research. The first podcast was okay, but it wasn't all that. It wasn't to the best of my ability, and I'm really excited about doing that because I did more research than I ever did. It may not be on the level of the experienced ones, but I did a good job. So once again, you was watching Where's My Coffee? I am Heart Attack, and I leave you with my slogan. You know what I mean? I hope you guys like it. You know what I mean? Just let me know if you like the slogan. It's really nothing too heavy, but I always mess up when I say this. But once again, this is Where's My Coffee? You will listen to Heart Attack. Keep it beating or let it flatline. Thank you. I'll check you guys later.